Hi guys. So this is a video on the new summer Define Dragons is coming out. I like to say, Soma says, what goes around comes around. Yes?
Yes. I'm thinking of Mark Twain, and at the end of this video, I'll tell you why I'm thinking of Mark Twain. Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn, and all that. I know it sounds crazy, but I'll make a connection with that.
Okay. So we have 3 dragons so far this season: Canaris, Borgin, and Drakeus.
With 2 unknowns.
And 2 unknowns. What I did notice is that these dragons are mimics of Kanara in the red, Borg in the purple, and I think Drakeus is supposed to be Calcis.
Amarok.
No.
Oh, Calcis, okay.
Supposed to be Calcis in the blue. And if their pattern is holding true, then the next dragon, which is a warrior, could be Amarok's cousin. Or Danzig's cousin.
Burak. Sorry.
Because Danzig and Amarok are kind of like, So I think that they're going to do something along those lines. Wasn't he like the Prince of Dragons or something like that, or the Knight of Dragons?
He was the Knight of Dragons and the Prince. Well, actually, no. There was a previous one that was a Knight. Then there was the Soldier, which was Hantu. Hantu was the soldier. Yeah.
It was like Hantu, and so I think they might do that, or they might choose some other orange and green tier dragons to be the last 2 dragons to mimic. But looking at the spells, so Kanara, I have a mini. We'll talk about minis later. But she originally had summons, chain lightning, and storm resist. And yeah, Kanara for a red tier dragon is pretty
rock the house.
She is. I'm using her on my mini. Love her. Which is probably why I'm really considering getting Canarius, because she's going to have Summon Warrior as well, but in a white spell. Freeze, Phoenix, Rising Phoenix, and Archer Resist. I think that she might have the best mix of spells of these dragons.
I have to agree with this.
Especially since Faye was the last season sorceress, and maybe they're making up for it here. The Hunter, on the other hand, Borgin, has White Thunderbolt, which is like a white chain lightning, Healing Mark, and Lockdown.
Lockdown is just something that was with Karna.
No.
Karna was with Lockdown. Yeah, that's a terrible spell.
Borg, the purple tier Borg actually had Havoc and Lockdown. So they're keeping one of the original spells from the original dragon. Kanara's was Summon Warrior. Borg's is Lockdown. Wouldn't it have been better to use Havoc?
Havoc is, by the way, a spell that increases, I believe, 50% your dragon's attack power, which in the case of hunters, it's like Firebolt, particularly useful. But it's also useful for a warrior.
Yeah, but...
less so for a sorcerer.
Yeah. But if they had kept one of the spells like they're seeming to do, I would have chosen that one. Would have been much better. And then I think Calcis is our other one.
Ancestor
of Drakeus. Drakeus has Vampiric Touch, Sacrifice, Lightning Resist, and Fire Turret Resist. And the only reason...
Nice combo. Sorry, nice combo.
It is, especially since Sacrifice is a white spell that takes 0 range. And Vampiric Touch is a blue spell. The only reason I think this might not be the case if this is supposed to be Calcis is because he does not have a similar spell. But then they put the Calcis Knight on this line, so it's kind of confusing if this is supposed to be Calcis or not. Because didn't Amarok have Vampiric Touch?
That was Danzig.
That's Danzig.
By the way, he's an unsung dragon. Everybody was going, Hagen. Fuck you. I went for Danzig.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So he could be, but I doubt it. I'm thinking he's Calcis on the blue tier. So I more than likely am waiting for
Canarius.
Well, no, I'm going to wait and see what the warrior is before I choose the dragon per se. More than likely I'll stay with Canarius. But I more than likely am going to get Drakius for two reasons. One, if you noticed from last season, the lore has continued over with Abraxas. And the lineage of the dragon and how it looks has carried over as well. I think, and you can put your feedback, that this is going to be that this season, last season had one, this season has one, next season will have one, and then they will have a dragon that you can only get if you have these three dragons. For people that have been around and did the extra, and I think that's where they're going with this line of dragons and the lore. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think the exact same thing is that right now when we're getting Drakius after Abraxas, because Abraxas was a bit of, I wouldn't call him a fiasco. He's not a bad dragon. He's not a great dragon. I think, like I said in a previous video, you know, people thought when I first saw him that he was a badass. Well, he's either bad or an ass. He's not both. But when you're going to get the second dragon, hopefully PG later on in the season will listen to the fact that maybe he didn't get the best combination of spells. I saw his spells right now. I'm not going to get into it right now. They seem to have made him a little bit more defensive. But there's going to be a third dragon, which is going to be for fall. And out of these three dragons, light, darkness, whatever, dawn, haze, morning, is going to be another composite, mythic divine from the separate branch. And we're going to see how that goes. I suggest that if you do get him, you get him in the first weeks, because he's going to be half price. And right now, yeah, PG is choosing to give you more of a drop rate. My drop rate wasn't fantastic, but it was respectable at 1075. Ghost was very, very good, maybe even excellent at almost 1500. But what I wanted to say was that it seems to me that PG is going through its paces, and there's a reason why I mentioned Mark Twain in the beginning of this video, is that Canarius has a summon spell. And Canara had a summon spell, and so did Zanavalis, who was actually an excellent dragon, and they brought him back after a Black Bloods event, and they are bringing back the Black Bloods event. And Canarius, is it Canarius or Canaraku, or who is it?
It's Canarius.
Okay, Canarius, yeah. There was a spotted Canarius, yeah. And she's going to have summon spell. That's an earlier tier dragon. Now the interesting thing is Apophis, who was a Sapphire Mythic, came with a summoned dragon. You couldn't summon him over, but he just came with him. What I'm saying is there's an Emerald Mythic, I wish I'd written down his name, who comes with Galvanic Overload. And Galvanic Overload, for a fact, I know is a spell that's indigenous, or so I thought, to Rizar, who's a legendary, yes, platinum dragon. So what I'm noticing that PG is doing is they're recycling spells from much earlier tier dragons onto latter ones, just like from Canara. They recycled the summon spell onto Apophis. No, Apophis. Yeah. And from Rizar, they recycled that spell onto a Mythic Emerald. I have to check his name. I should have done this before this video. But it seems, again, that things are coming full circle. If not quite identically, then in a very similar fashion. Reason being that I had mentioned Mark Twain is that he said that if history doesn't repeat, it rhymes quite well. And I'm inclined at this point to mention another video that we made very expromptu, spontaneously. Carpe diem, carpe nocturne, seize the day, seize the night, seize the dawn. People don't know the full set of three. There's a strange monument in New York to Sugar Hill. Sugar Hill was the first prison, the oldest prison in New York, where the British, not the Americans, the British imprisons American revolutionaries. And the prison was demolished, but they saved a window. And in the place of where Sugar Hill, that's an odd name for a prison, is they put up an art building that was demolished later on, that was supposed to be a landmark, and then they put up a police precinct, which is not quite a prison, but it is a potential ticket on your way to prison. Yes. So like I said, if history doesn't repeat, it rhymes quite well. So we came almost full circle. That's why I mentioned Mark Twain. And I'm thinking that if PG, this is a speculation, if they can't come up with anything new, they're sort of choosing minor variations on everything that was.
I think you are correct.
We'll see. Time will tell.
Could they just better than lockdown?
You might be asking too much. Guys, there is no knowledge that is not power. Right then, but is all power good. So you decide for yourselves. Everything that rises must converge, and if history doesn't repeat, it rhymes quite well.